high exposure publications beginning April 5th last year. Because it's not an attack on WikiLeaks in itself. It is an attack on freedom of speech. This is not, in my mind, the story on WikiLeaks. It is not a story on Julian. It is a story on how the corrupt financial powers can take it upon themselves to try to destroy an organization fighting for the freedom of the internet, freedom of speech, without any legal justification. There have been no legal action against WikiLeaks. There have been no charges against the organization or anybody in the organization. So this is totally outrageous. If it's not stopped here, where will it lead to next time? We have heard about concerns from Amnesty International. Of course, they survive on donations. We've heard concerns from Greenpeace. And we can name a lot of organizations that are doing even illegal things. If you look at Greenpeace, I mean, that's one of their agenda. They do break the law sometimes. Are we going to allow these financial institutions to have this power? So it is of utmost importance that we focus on that battle, not just for WikiLeaks, but for every individual in the world who is stripped of the possibility of showing support by donations, and for all other organizations that are relying on donations and sometimes do things that are not popular with those who hold power.
Sorry, can I just ask you about the question about whether you feel this is an existential threat to WikiLeaks?
This financial blockade is an existential threat to WikiLeaks. If the blockade is not torn down by the end of the year, the organization cannot continue in its work.
The information that you referred to that's in the possession of a former employee, is that specifically information about Bank of America?
That question would take too long to answer, but perhaps afterwards I can speak to you one-on-one. Yes.
Sorry. Given the fact that you thought it doesn't take that long in the last 10 months as it did, and given the fact how low you run now on financial resources, how much trust do you have in the system, in, you know, on the people or the organizations who might be able to help you in the future before you really run out of time?
Which part of the system are you referring to?
I mean, the fact that the justice system, mainly, probably.
Well, the first front is that, as I mentioned earlier, the complaint to the European Commission. I will not believe that the European Commission will not take this very seriously. We are talking about two American financial enterprises that are controlling 97% of the car processing market in Europe. I do not believe, and it is a blatant violation of the EU treaty. I do not. We must put faith in Brussels and the European Commission and take a direct action against the companies.
We are. Why we have great hopes for the European Commission process and for the pending lawsuits in Denmark and other countries. You're right, we're not putting all our eggs into the judicial basket. We have also today opened up some other more creative ways for donors to transmit money to WikiLeaks. And that includes mobile telephone, SMS payments in a number of countries. It also includes additional national bank accounts. Thus far, bank-to-bank transfers are still possible in most countries. Any bank using the Bank of America network or any Bank of America bank holder is not able to transfer payments to any account that the Bank of America suspects, that is its own language, suspects would end up with WikiLeaks. But otherwise, bank-to-bank transfers are still working. And unusually, for a high-tech organization like WikiLeaks, we are now also reliant on checks and cash sent in the mail.
Jerome Taylor, The Independent newspaper. Can I ask whether the fundraising initiative that happens today, the money that comes in, will that also contribute towards, Julian, your personal legal battles, both in fighting the extradition attempt in Sweden and any future legal battles that may be held in Sweden should that extradition be successful?
It's very interesting that you choose to ask this question, because WikiLeaks collected monies have never gone towards the Swedish extradition case to which I am subject, a case for which I have not been charged. But that hasn't stopped our opponents spreading deliberate disinformation in order to reduce the amount of donations coming to this organization through the unblockaded means. Bizarrely, you can still make PayPal payments and Visa payments to the Julian Assange Defense Fund, because that goes towards lawyers. But you cannot make Visa payments and PayPal payments to WikiLeaks, because that goes towards publication.
Karen Assange from The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald back home. Can I just ask, I take your point that you can't tell us too much about what sort of litigation you're pursuing, but you sound at the moment like you're just looking at regulatory authorities to wave the big stick on your behalf. Is there a possibility of civil suits against any of these banks or organisations if you think they're breaking the law? Could you claw some of that money back by taking out civil action against them specifically?
That is one possibility that we are looking into, and our lawyers. I would also think that, at least in America, a class action would be a possibility, because people there are being stripped of the possibility of expressing their support. But that is one way that we are looking into. I would like to maybe give the microphone to Bernd about, because the PayPal hit directly the Vo Halland Foundation, so he might have information about how they will proceed in that case.
So we as the foundation are currently also looking into legal actions with our lawyers, so we haven't made up a decision how to proceed precisely. That's not made up yet. But I think the situation is not acceptable any longer, so we will look at it very, very closely, and it's very likely we will proceed with legal action there.
So, speaking about whose rights have been violated, well, there's the rights of all of us to knowledge, to freedom of information, to believe that we can speak freely. There's the rights of WikiLeaks as an organization to be able to pursue its values and engage economically with the rest of the population. But there is also the rights of our donors. Those rights have been compromised by this blockade. Their rights to economically engage with an organization in Europe that they support, their rights to politically affiliate with an organization through the method of giving it a $25 donation. That right has been breached. And within the United States, there's a long history about the rights that people have to affiliate with an organization. Now, normally those rights are expressed against interference by the federal government of the United States. Here we have a situation where Visa, PayPal, MasterCard, and the Bank of America have grown to be such powerful organizations that they are effectively administering part of the state because they administer basic services. If you go to get a telephone line on, or you go to post a letter, telephone companies and postal companies that have monopolies or near monopolies do not have the right to refuse you service because they are essential services. Banking, similarly, is an essential service in the 21st century. There is no individual who can act in a significant manner, nor an organization, without the banking industry. The banking industry cannot be allowed to run free. This is not like the competition between two greengrocers. This is like the situation of basic telephone service, basic water service, basic electricity service. There must be rights afforded to organizations to be free from the political interference by those essential service companies.
Guy Rundle from Crikey. Two related questions. Are you disappointed that PayPal joined the general blockade, given that it was founded by self-styled libertarians and purported to have an alternative approach to global financing and payment? And secondly, is what you're really saying that this is really a crucial question about sovereignty and a question of an attack basically on European sovereignty by American institutions?
PayPal was founded as an alternative to the banks, founded by Californian libertarians, founded by Peter Thiel, effectively a Californian cypherpunk and libertarian. Those people left PayPal in the late 1990s, and it has now evolved into a situation where it is every bit as bad as the major banks like Bank of America. For PayPal, Wikileaks is not the only organization that has been blockaded. Just a few weeks ago, Diaspora, an alternative to Facebook that it supports Wikileaks, was also for a period of time cut off. In relation to your question about European sovereignty, yes, it is a reality that Visa and MasterCard, as instruments of a political grouping in Washington, not of US law, but of a political grouping in Washington, are able to control in a practical manner the economic exchange between one European and another. That is a basic issue for sovereignty. Does a nation have control over the economic interactions that occur within that nation, or does another nation have control? And in this case, it's not even another nation, the United States, who has control over basic European economic interactions. It's a completely unaccountable, extrajudicial grouping of corrupt US-based finance companies together with their right-wing pals in Washington. So we are trying to create, it is a fact that Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal control nearly all of the small movement market. Visa and MasterCard together control 97% in Europe. If you add on PayPal, I'm not sure what the result is, but it's near 100%. But there are some alternatives. Yes, they are a little bit harder to use, but we encourage people who want to support WikiLeaks to go to wikileaks.org/donate, and you will see some of these other alternatives that are new, such as SMS payments or UCash or Cash-U that exists in the Middle East, or bank-to-bank transfers, provided you do not use the Bank of America network. Of course, cash payments can be made, although they are sometimes difficult to arrange. We also have something worthwhile to note. While Western Union has put